Everywhere you look, the modern world places a relentless demand on you to be happy. You are expected to smile, optimize your life, and project absolute success at all times. But when the screen finally goes dark and the performance ends, a quiet, heavy exhaustion sets in. It is a weight that remains long after the social obligations have been met. In this environment, normal human sadness is treated as a defect. We are encouraged to adopt behavioral cures for our unhappiness, habits that often intensify the internal strain they were meant to alleviate. This dynamic is driven by toxic positivity. It functions through the rigid promotion of optimism, aggressively pushing out negative experiences. The danger assumes mindset alone resolves difficulties. Positive outlooks cannot overwrite trauma, and eventually the suppressed reality breaks through the surface. Human biology does not respond to cultural trends. When you repeatedly ignore or invalidate your negative emotions, your body registers a threat. Suppressing what you actually feel triggers a heightened stress response and increases baseline anxiety. By masking this pain, you are teaching your brain that your authentic internal state is unacceptable. Over time, this constant self-censorship erodes your emotional resilience, making it harder to recover from genuine setbacks. To maintain the pace required by modern productivity, we deploy a subconscious defense mechanism known as shallowing. We mute our emotions to keep functioning. We take our grief, doubts, and daily fatigue and store them in a mental basement. We try to selectively numb the difficult parts of our daily experience to remain operational. This reveals a biological constraint. Pain and joy operate on a shared neural circuit. When you slice away the lows, you dull the highs. The same wiring that allows grief is responsible for delight. Numbing one side narrows your entire range. The result is a flat, joyless existence. You may no longer feel the crushing weight of sadness, but you no longer feel deeply alive either. This emotional shallowing changes the experience of isolation. Loneliness becomes less about physical distance and more about the gap between our internal reality and the mask we wear in public. You can exist in a crowded room or a busy office and feel entirely invisible. When everyone performs happiness, true connection is impossible because no one is actually being seen. Chronic exposure to this culture of forced optimism can lead to alexithymia, a clinical difficulty in identifying or describing your own emotions. Decades of prioritizing good vibes can strip away your emotional vocabulary. Eventually, you lose the ability to recognize your needs, becoming a stranger to your own body. Social media accelerates this process by bombarding us with flawless lives. This constant exposure creates psychological pressure unseen in most of human history. Passive scrolling has a measurable impact. It elicits feelings of inadequacy that correlate with drops in well-being, reinforcing the idea that your messy life is a failure. To escape this inadequacy, we step onto the hedonic treadmill, chasing achievements and believing the next promotion provides lasting satisfaction. But the nervous system adapts. Once a goal is reached, happiness regresses to a baseline, and expectations rise to meet the new status quo. The treadmill ensures that hyperproductivity cannot cure emotional numbness. You run faster and acquire more, yet your internal state remains unchanged. The accumulation of this strain leads to a burnout society. We have built an environment where individuals are driven to push themselves to the point of psychological collapse. This is a form of self-exploitation. Without external force, we work relentlessly to meet internalized standards of achievement, climbing a staircase that leads nowhere. Eventually, the burnt-out self is at war with its own limitations. It buckles under the weight of unachievable expectations, unable to continue the performance. Burnout is the inevitable outcome of a system demanding constant growth while forbidding the expression of fatigue. It is the point where the mask finally breaks. Resolving this requires a quiet rebellion, dropping the mask. It begins by unlearning the idea that optimism is the only acceptable way to exist. Real connection requires us to stop performing. We have to start practicing relationships that are unoptimized and honest, making space for our actual internal states. This means stepping off the treadmill to reclaim the capacity for contemplation, the ability to look at things as they are, without trying to turn them into an achievement. True meaning isn't found in relentless positivity. It is found in the courage to be real and in allowing yourself to feel the terrifying, beautiful spectrum of the entire human experience.